Hello.
Hi Vijay, good afternoon. Welcome you to this training on Power BI, the continuation of what we have done so far. And this is entirely related to the NI Analytics, Data Analytics program that's been offered, and the course is Power BI. Okay, so as I proceed ahead, this recording would be only for educational purpose and nothing more than. Okay, so moving on, let me share my screen as of now. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, as I told you that we are focusing on the time intelligence function. So I believe that the time intelligence functions are finished. Okay. So you can practice more other time intelligence functions like closing balance year, closing balance quarter, and so on. So we have done in the previous class the date add function and dates in period. And what is the next one? Okay, can you recall? So other than that, we have done say total YTD, QTD, and MTD that we have done. And later, using the calculate function, we have carried out the dates YTD, QTD, and MTD function. Okay, so these are the things that we have done, and these are special DAX intelligence functions, time intelligence DAX functions. Uh, this is one more thing what we have discussed so far, which is same period last year and date add, dates in period. And the next one, can you recall it?
Dating period.
Yeah,
Um,
you're not getting right.
I'm actually, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you're actually blank. Okay, so we
yeah.
have
But I
discussed about
practiced it. I practiced those ones. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we the one more function what we have is dates between. Okay, so it's left to you whether you have practiced it or not. But see to it that whenever it's asked in the interview, don't take pauses and answer it, because if you take pauses and answer it, the interviewer might think that you are not well versed in certain tax intelligence, tax time intelligence, tax functions, which is repetitively asked in the interview. Okay, so the rest of the time intelligence DAX functions, you can go through the syntax. Okay, so each and every syntax is very clear, and we can highlight that using the syntax and what would be the result that they offer. Can you be on mute as of now? There's a lot of pages
Sure.
and other things turning. Okay, so you can go through the syntax, which is the remaining time intelligence DAX functions, which you can do it on your own. Now, I will be focusing more on the interview perspective, where these are the general time intelligence DAX functions that we have discussed so far. Okay, is that clear? Got it. Now, moving ahead, as I told you that we will be discussing more about the other time intelligence DAX functions like time formats. And my point of discussion here today is to get data, get data from the first one, Excel file. Next, we are going to have a PDF file. Next, we are going to get the data from the SQL server. Okay. And we are going to get the data from the online, that is website. Okay, so this is the thing where we are using again Power BI desktop. Got it? So we are again using the Power BI desktop to get the data. Okay, to get the data. Now we have already done about Excel file. Okay, so if you are having a basic knowledge of Excel, that is good to work with. And if you're having a bit of advanced knowledge also, it's a better thing to highlight when you're working with Power BI desktop. So we can say that MS Excel is more or less like the mother of Power BI desktop. So Power BI desktop is booming these days, and that's the right tool to learn to get into data analytics. Now we can also get it from the SQL Server. Now, if you are well versed in writing SQL queries, even I'll show you how you can write a SQL query using the Management Studio that I have, where I have got the database and how it works. We'll also discuss some part of it. I'm not going to teach you SQL completely here, but how to get the data from SQL Server. Okay, so we have certain data manipulations. Okay, data manipulation, we call it as SQL keywords. Okay, SQL keywords, got it? So we are going to discuss about SQL keywords, like we go to a market, get the surf excel, get biscuits, and so on. So it is just like speaking English. SQL is not a like big thing to learn. It's not hard coded like React JS and Node JS and Java as of now. So it's just a server interaction a language that we develop. Okay. So we also have data which is from the website. We can get data directly from the website as well. And I'll show you an example like how we can get the data from Wikipedia. Okay. Now there is one more thing what I would like to highlight in the Power BI service. Okay, so I'll just use the Power BI service as well, where we can create an app. Okay, as I told you that we can create an app, which I missed out while I was explaining Power BI service, and I'll be asking you some questions related to Power BI service as well, if you know it, you can answer it. Now, next we have a concept called as real-time data streaming in Power BI dashboard. Okay, real-time data streaming in Power BI dashboard. Now, in the industries or any chemical industries that you have, like if they want to get some real-time data using IoT sensors or gas like related cylinders, they have sensors allotted to them or used in them. So you will be having the data logged in directly to your Power BI service. You need a API key, okay, which we call it as subscription key. Okay, subscription key, and these keys I'll be using it in a dummy manner because I don't have my system connected to any of the like chemical sensors or chemical chambers here. We'll be just focusing on a dummy API key that is already available in Power BI service, and I'll be making sure that you have the normal humidity, temperature, okay, and also pressure. Okay, so I'll show you what all the related parameters that we can use and how we can represent them using the card visual, a line chart and all. Okay, so related things are there. So there are few charts and few parameters that is associated. We are going to discuss them after this. Okay, and if time permits, we are going to discuss about a Power Query editor as well. Okay, so these concepts are the agenda that's planned for today. And if you have anything or any doubts in your mind, you can also let me know about it. So we'll have a discussion after that. Okay, clear. Now let us go here and let me just see that this is the next page that we have got, and I already told you that we have got data where we can use the data. Okay, where we can use the data. Now I told you that in Power BI desktop we have got many desktop connectors which are there in the Power BI. Okay, so these are the connectors which are there, like all connectors, you can see it here, and we can go for any certified connectors like this. Like if you want to know more about certified connectors, now the connectors extensibility is also seen here. Now it is already there that Microsoft certifies a limited subset of custom data connections where it is performed. Now, if you want to have any custom data or third party developer where the connector is there, you can use it whether it is a certified connector from Microsoft. Okay, so that is important here. Now we can also have different connectors, what I have mentioned here, like either it is from an Excel file or a text or a CSV format, or either you have XML, which is extensive markup language. You can get data from that JSON format, folder, PDF. Okay, and as I told you that we have got Oracle database, IBM DB2, MySQL database. So all the different things are there here. Okay, and we have also got Amazon Redshift. So these are the different databases which are there. Now, when I come to the categories here, again, the entire connectors are classified into, say, different data connectors again, like file, database, and this one is Fabric. Okay, so once you get into your industry, you have got cloud related services. Now, if you have got your data in the cloud, like the services, you will be going for the Microsoft Fabric connections where you have data flows, data marts, and everything. Okay. So as of now, I'll be not going through the Fabric. And as I told you, it is a Power Platform technology. Power BI is a Power Platform technology. Now, other than Power BI, we have also got Power Apps, Power Automate, a Dataverse. This is also a inbuilt, like what I can say is a table. Okay, so inbuilt table in Power BI, not in Power BI, Power Apps and Power Automate will be extensively using a Dataverse where you have relationships. You can also go for calculated columns. It's more or less like a database apt for Power Apps and Power Automate. Now, next one, I told you that it's Microsoft and you have got Azure SQL Database. The cloud database is one thing, we call it as Azure SQL Database, and other aspects related to the Azure services are also there here. Now, like ADLS, Gen 2, Gen 1, got it? So this is completely related to the cloud connection. Okay, if you have a Azure account, once you join your company, you will be having a Azure account. You should log into the Azure account and get the data from that. Next, we have got online services like Dynamics 365 and other third-party applications. We can connect it, and we can also go for other connections such as web connection. We also can get the data from SharePoint, and we can run it. Okay, so as of now, I'll just go for the Excel workbook. I can connect to an Excel workbook right now, and I can have the sample superstore data that I have shared with you as well. Okay, now once I'm establishing a connection with the sample superstore data set here, I will be seeing a navigator pane. Okay, so the first step is connecting to a data, and next step is seeing the navigator pane. Okay, so once I'll be opening this downloads folder, and I have this sample superstore data set with me. Okay, so this is a sample superstore data set. So opening it a while, just it's preparing as of now. Okay, now you have got this sample superstore data set. Now I wanted you to understand the difference between the table and the sheets. Okay, now let me come to the whiteboard here. Now when we have, say, sheet, okay, and table. Now if you know the difference between both of them, you can just highlight it, or let me just finish it. If you have any doubts, you can let me know as well. Now, sheet, you have got an Excel workbook that is open. Now we have got Excel workbook. I do give a lot of time to make you understand. Say this is Excel workbook. Okay, so in Excel workbook we have got many sheets. Got it? Now in those sheets you can rename the sheets as well. Okay, you can rename the sheets. Now once you rename the sheets, you will be having the sheets, like you can rename it, and in the sheets you can create a array. Okay, you can create a array. Array means the sheets will be having rows and columns, Now it is called as A1. Okay, next you have B1, C1 like this. Okay, I might be wrong. So this is C1 and this one is A2. Okay, so you have rows and columns. Now, once you have a specified limits of rows and columns which are applied, we have got the tables where we see the required like range of the cells which is applied to the table. So we call it as table here. Okay. Now, as soon as we see a sheet here, we can have multiple tables in the sheet. Okay, multiple tables in the sheet here. I will be showing you directly how do I create a sheet right now. Okay, so it's still loading. Yes, so now I have got this Excel file being opened here. Once I have this Excel file opened, I'll just go to this option and I'll be having a blank workbook here. Okay, I'll just create it. Now, this is a simple Excel workbook that I have got, which is opening as a file name called as workbook. So this is A1, B1, C1, and this one is A2, B2, C2, and so on. Now, let me just give a employee ID and employee name. Okay, so I have this two columns, which is named as employee ID and employee name. So I'll be having 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'll just write it as 4, 5. Now, employee name, I'll just name it as A, B, something else. Okay, I'll just name it here. Now, this is a sheet here. Getting my point, Vijay. Now, this is a sheet where we have got the sheet one. You can rename the sheet one. See, you can rename the sheet one as employee directory. Okay, employee directory. You can just rename it. Now, you are having employee ID and employee name here. How do I turn this into a table? Okay, how do I turn this into a table? Because once I load this sheet, yes, you can also get the data from this point. Now, what happens here is employee country. Okay, employee country. Okay, I'll just change the name, employee country. Okay, yes, so I've got employee country here. Now I'll just give any country name. So we don't have any countries like this. So I'm just writing it and showing to you. Now, once I have this sheet, I have got a column where I have left, and I have got a D column where it gives me the data related to employee country. Okay. Now, once I have this employee country, which is having a column like C column, it is left out and it's having employee country there. I'll be having this one. I'll just format it as a table. Okay, I'm creating a table here. So how do I create a table? I select the entire range and go for Control T. Okay, so Control T is the shortcut key, and you have your table as headers. My table as headers here. Okay, now once you change this table as headers, you can rename the table as employee ID and you can enter it. Okay, now as soon as you enter 6, you have the data which is related to that. Okay, got it? So the table expands. See, if you can see over here, you will be having the table range being changed here. See here, this is the table range. Okay, so you can just expand the table range directly from this point. So you can just select it. So you enter the data like 9 and you will be having the option here. See, you can undo the table expansion as well, or you can stop expanding the table options as well. Okay, why am I showing you this is because see, now I don't have any data. Okay, so once I save this file, okay, once I save this file, to know the difference between the table and also the sheet here is, that's what I'm doing here. So I'll just show you as table to sheet. Okay, table sheet or table to sheet. I'll just save this option. Okay, so what I'll be doing here is after I save it and close it, so what will I do? I'll just have to connect it again. So I'll just go for getting the data, going to Excel workbook, and I have got this table to sheet. Now you have to identify and let me know what is the point behind this. Okay, see, I'm making a connection to the file that I have in my system. Now, what else do you see here, Vijay?
Sorry. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the employee tables have been come out, like in the apart from the sheets, the table also has been mentioned. No, no, no. Only sheets have been mentioned.
is it?
Employee ID is a sheet, right? Directory is a sheet.
Yeah, how many sheets are there? How many tables are there? Can you highlight?
So I think three sheets and one table.
Yes, correct. Okay. Now, what happens here once I select employee ID? How many tables will you
Mhm.
get? You will get only one table, right?
One time.
One table, and
Mhm.
you have the null values. Why? Because
Empty or table. Okay.
this range of the cells is also included in the table. Okay.
Mhm.
Even I don't enter the data, it is considered as a null data. Clear with my point, Vijay?
Yeah, our tables are within a sheet, but how, it's shown separately only. It's not like you have to go to the sheet and then within the sheet it's not a table.
Yeah,
Table
I'll open it.
cells stored separately.
See here. Now,
Mhm.
till employee ID 6, we have got the data. But this row, what we are seeing here, is empty. Now, the same point is being shown here in the table. That is included in the table, but I don't have any data associated with that. Clear?
Yeah.
Is that clear? Okay.
Got it.
Now,
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
to employee directory here, which I have changed the sheet name, see, I have got the complete data where you see employee ID, employee name, the column, and employee country, and we have got the point here where we
Got it.
see the null row. Okay, where we see the null
Mhm.
row. Why? Because this is considered in the table. This row is considered in the table. Now, this is what they have highlighted here, the navigator pane. Okay, so this entirely
Got
is
it.
there in the navigator pane, just like this. Okay, here with my point, that's what it is
Yeah.
shown here. See, I'll highlight it again. This is what they have shown. See, this is the null value,
Mhm.
and the complete row. Why it is called as null? Because this is included in the table. Getting my point?
Yeah.
This is included in the table.
Yes.
Okay. So I know that only two rows, I mean, two columns are included in the table, but this is not included. Okay. So that's why the row is taken into preference first, and the entire row, what is there in the employee directory sheet, is taken as a null value. Okay. Taken as
Okay.
a null value. Clear right now?
Yeah.
Correct? Okay, then. Fine.
Yes.
So this is how we manipulate data with respect to the Excel table. We always go for selecting a table. Okay, clear with my point
Mhm.
here, Vijay?
Yeah.
Got it? Any doubts here? Any point that you didn't understand?
No, as of now. No, no, as of
Yeah,
now it's very
it's
simple.
fine, right? Okay. Now,
Yeah.
moving ahead, we are done with Excel data where we get the data. Now,
Data.
next we'll go for SQL. Okay. Now,
Mhm.
let me have a bit of understanding on SQL, or because as a like fresher, if you have knowledge, I'll not go through it, or if you need
No,
a bit of introduction on SQL, I'll be going ahead. Is it fine
please,
that I
please.
go
Yeah.
for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes, this is SQL. Okay. Now, you go to any country. Okay, you are you have been in UK, that's fine. But if you go to countries like China, Japan, okay, or Indonesia, you can survive in English. I do agree. But if you want to interact with the natives or the locals, you need to learn their language, right? Or just in case, I'll just mention Russia as well. So you need to interact with those people, the localites, right? So assume that you have not learned their language and you want to interact with them. Okay. So it's highly difficult to interact with the people who are there in these countries. Now, what would you do? You will have to learn the language and then interact. Now, in the same way, we have got a user, okay, who needs to interact with the server. Okay, so this is the server and this is the user, or we call it as user level computer system. Now, once I have a connection with respect to the server through like the cables and it has been connected, think that you are working in a MNC and you have a server. Okay, so you have a server room and you have a database admin role. He will be checking it and monitoring the health of it and all. Now, you need to see that the files which are there, or we call it as databases, generally you need to extract that database or have a connection established first and then extract the database with respect to the user level computer that is there. So what you should do, you should have the credentials to it. Okay, you should have the credentials to it. Now, is it credentials fine, just like the login credentials what I'm speak out here? Is it fine?
Yeah. No,
Is it fine
maybe
that
the
you have only the
API keys
login credentials?
you sh- uh, they need the password also, right?
Yeah, login credentials. Credentials in the sense is username
Okay,
and
login and
password.
password. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it fine?
And the location where it has been stored. I think
Yes,
maybe.
correct. Okay, so you should identify the location as well where you want to see the files which are stored in the server and you want to get that. Now, in the same way, how do I interact with the server? I should have an understanding of a language which is structured and it is written in the form of a query. Okay, so that's why we call it as a structured query language. Got it? So we call it as structured query language. So we use a structured method by writing a query, and the language used to interact with the server is called as a structured query language. Okay, so some of the like databases that we have there. Okay, so databases is nothing but like you can't use Excel for large amount of data, so you go for the next level, that is the databases, right? So again, the databases will be stored in the form of a tables itself. Okay, got it? Now, when we are talking about different tables here, now I'll be showing you how we can interact with the server as well in couple of minutes. Now, as of now, we will understand like different types of databases that we have. Okay, so one is we call it as DBMS, which is database management system. Second one, we have got relational database management system. And the third one, we call it as non-relational database management system, which is there. Okay, got it? So generally, DBMS is the general thing that you study. This one, why we call it as a relational? The term R is meant for relational here. Why we call it as a relational database system is you have not a single table, like you don't have a single table here. You don't have it because you have customers table, you have countries table, you have the sales table, you have say again a products table and so on. So you need to keep in mind that you should interact with the remaining tables and you should get the data. Okay, so that is performed by joins and advanced SQL queries. Okay, got it? Advanced SQL queries. Got it? So as of now, what I'll be showing you is how do I get the data from SQL Server. Okay, from SQL Server. As I highlighted that we have got SQL servers which are popular right now, which is Oracle SQL Server. Next, we have got MySQL. Okay. Next, we have got say MS SQL. Don't think that MySQL and MS SQL is same. It is not one and the same. Got it? Now we have got MySQL and MS SQL. Next one we have got IBM DB2. Okay. So IBM DB2, those are the different things which are present. Okay, so
Those
as
are
I
just platforms, is it? But the language is the same.
yes, so the language is the same. You just have to go take a flight to every country, right? So the every country is what I relate here as
Like
the Oracle,
like
MySQL.
Python has Jupyter and other things, Replit and all of those
See,
compilers to that.
Python is
All these
a
are compilers.
language. Python is a
No,
language,
no,
right?
like Python, yeah, Python has compilers, no, like Jupyter Notebook and all of
No,
them.
no, that is
So
a
these are
notebook.
different.
Notebook is different. I'm talking about the server here. Okay, so those are
Yeah.
notebooks. So where you use
Mhm.
to like it's more or less like a what I can say editors. Okay, so where you write a code and execute it and get the values uh, or the required result.
Mhm.
Okay, so here I'm talking about the server. Okay, so you sit in an
Yeah.
MNC of 100 computers, 100 people will be working over there, and you have a single server either at the sideways of the rooms or you have got server rooms which are there. Okay, in your most of the movies
Mhm.
you would have seen it like lights blinking, they enter in the room, right?
Yeah.
So those are the
Yeah.
servers which are there. Okay, so the servers might be from any companies. The few companies what I have listed down is Oracle, MySQL, and MS SQL. This is what I have installed on my computer right now, where I use a SQL Server Developer Edition. Okay, Developer Edition is that is what I'll be using, and I'll be like I have already installed it. I cannot show you how I have installed it now. Here, what I'll be doing here is I also have the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, so which we call it as SSMS, which is SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, so this is where I'll be connecting it to the uh, point. Okay, I'll be showing you right now because it takes time to launch so that I can explain it. So SQL Server Management Studio 19. So this is the latest version that I have got. Every year it gets an update. Like next year it might be 20, and you have to uninstall it and install it. Okay. So I have got the SQL Server Management Studio, which is version 19.1, and the 2023 launch, which I've been showing to you right. Okay. Now this is where we will be interacting with the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, this is where we'll be installing or this is where we'll be using the SQL Server Management Studio. And I have already loaded the data. Okay, I've already loaded the data. So you can just be on mute.
Mhm.
Okay, yes. So what I'll be doing here is now I'll launch the SQL Server Management Studio here. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, see here. Now, this is the interface of the SQL Server Management Studio. Now, I have given the Windows authentication. What I'll be doing here is I'll just copy it and connect it. Okay. So now to the SQL Server 1, I have the connection being made. Okay. So once I have this connection being made here, I can see it in the databases. This is the database, and I have got these databases which I've already loaded. Okay. So these are the databases which I've already loaded into the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. Now I can write a new query here. Okay. So I can write a new query. So I'll be quickly teaching you two keywords which is related to SQL, which you can also practice when your SQL classes start. So we have got, say, select. Always your keywords should be in capital letter. Do remember that. Always your keywords should be in your capital letter. Select, star, from, okay? Select star from this two keywords you do remember it. Okay, but I haven't specified the database. There are two ways in which you can specify the databases: by writing a query or by selecting the databases which is appropriately there here. Okay, so I've selected the database, and so select star from. Okay, select star from. I can expand the database Okay, I can expand the tables. Got it? I can expand the tables here. Now, once I expand the tables, we have got few tables which are already loaded in that database. Okay, so first it is the server, next database, next we have got tables associated with it. Okay, so as of now it's taking time to load, and do remember these two keywords. Okay, got it? So select star from. Okay, so what does star mean here is, it means that you are having all the rows and columns of the particular table. Okay, so what does star mean? It is a asterisk symbol, where it means that all the rows and columns. Select all the rows and columns. Clear with it? So that we are doing here, where we select all the rows and columns. So as of now it's expanding. Let me just write it here based on what I remember. Mm, yeah, I'll just write a query. Use works. So 1 minute. Yeah, it's coming. Okay, so you just have to type it, and the IntelliSense property is enabled here. Okay, so this is the IntelliSense property that is enabled. So we are not going to select 8. So it is select star from dimension employee. What it does here is select all the rows and columns. See here, star indicates, see all the rows and columns. These are the column values. We call it as the field values or the attribute values that is present here. So select star from dimension employee. Let me execute it. So you see the results over here. Getting my point, Vijay?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have learned two keywords. One is select
Keyword select
and
start from.
from. Okay, now there is one more thing which is called as order of execution, which I'll quickly finish up. Now, this is select from where, right? Now, what happens at the SQL engine, backend engine, what we have here, what SQL engine recognizes is, this is the query that you have written, correct? This is the SQL query that you have written.
Mhm.
Now, what happens here is, where we have the dimension employee. First, what it goes, first, what it understands, first, I should go to the dimension employee table. Okay, first, I should go to the dimension employee table. Then, what I should do, I should see that what is this query. Okay, so the order of execution, so we call it as order of execution of a query. Clear? So, order of execution of a query. First one, it is the from keyword. Okay, first one is the from keyword. Second one, it is the select keyword. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah. First the location, then what to select.
Yes, from the table, where from dimension employee table, I should select all the rows and columns. Clear with that?
Okay.
Is that clear right now, Vijay?
Yeah. As of now, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
audible?
Okay. So we'll try one more thing. What I'll be doing here is, first, what I should do, I should select the database. Or there is one more thing, what I'll show to you. Use is another keyword. Okay. So use, I have Contoso retail data warehouse, where I'll execute it. See, commands executed successfully. So I'll quickly write it as select. Okay. So time's gonna end. Let me just write this one query. I got it from, say, account. Okay. So I can specify the table name here. Clear right now? Is it clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Fine.
But
Okay.
use, yeah. Okay.
Use is another
We'll
keyword.
reconnect. Mhm.
Yeah. So we will reconnect, and we will see how we can get the data, and we'll see one more keyword in SQL. Okay.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Fine. So let's reconnect and wait for a few minutes.